Dirk, you spent a lot of time in Washington, a lot of time in Asia. So when you look at the two sides, they're going into a negotiation. If they're not serious about it, then maybe we can ignore all this pre-negotiation talk. But if they're the least bit serious, is some of this talk, both of them trying to set themselves up to go into it with some leverage?
Yeah, I think that's really an astute point. I think there is a certain amount of leverage building at this point. I mean, China, our reporting suggests that China is going to walk into the talks this week with a lot of things off the table. Specifically, they're looking at pulling off the idea of dealing with their own government subsidies, dealing with Chinese industrial policy, and presenting sort of an option for a more limited deal. Now, that is quite a thing to take off the table here, because if you've been following U.S.-China trade talks for a really long time, that's really a core U.S. complaint here. It's really, some might say it's even the whole heart of the U.S. complaint. So to bring an offer that doesn't include that really suggests that China is looking for, at max, a limited deal out of this.
But Derek, does this look to you like pragmatism, really? Because after all of the false dawns and all of the really hot rhetoric we've heard on things like IP and Huawei, is a limited deal just a realistic first step?
Well, let me give you two green shoots here, Paul. One of them is that the Japan deal that the U.S. just struck provides sort of a template here for a limited deal that you could do to kind of get the door open to get practice in doing the deal between the two sides, kind of feel what success looks like, while still, maybe moving forward on some bigger issues. The second thing I would note is that both the U.S. and China are kind of in a spot right now where even though neither wants to back down and look to be backing down, they're both in a spot where concessions on some key issues could actually be really helpful. If you're looking at China right now with the African swine fever disease that's gone through and has devastated the pig herds in China, they could really actually use agricultural imports, some of that U.S. pork, to go in and help supply, maybe move some of those pressures downwards on pricing. And the second thing, on the American side, I know we've talked a lot about this, but it's really true that Donald Trump does not want to have an economic slowdown walking into a 2020 election fight. And so maybe easing off on some tariff lines, that might help on the president's side as well. So there really are, as you're looking forward to this, there really are some good reasons for both sides to concede, even though neither wants to be looking like they're actually conceding.